Hi, hey guys, how's it going? How you getting on? Good to see you. Not really see you, but you know what I mean. Welcome to the first inaugural episode of Carrmageddon. It's a new show that I'll be doing on the Boys on the Bus podcast. Thanks to our Phil, he's set me the task of giving you guys some entertainment during the week, and I shall be doing so. The format, if you want to know it, is going to be pretty much the exact same as the carpool which was doing on the Boys on the Bus. So yeah, it's it's not too different, so just strap yourselves in, prepare yourselves for a barrage of charisms and stuff like that, and stuff you all used to love on the on the old show. But yeah, I'm happy to get this started. I was meant to start it a wee while back, but I've had stuff on. I'm just back from being in Cologne, Germany for 5 days. That was fucking awesome. So yeah, I'm here to get back to work, as it were. So, on today's agenda, which is the 17th of the 7th, 2025, I'll be going to be going over the Sporting Lisbon Celtic game from last night. I'm going to talk about the board's lack of spending, how slow the transfers are, you know, stuff to do with surrounding Brendan Rodgers, all the stuff that everyone in Celtic land is kind of talking about as the hot topic that is kind of being discussed on every other podcast, from here to Timbuktu. But yeah, but before we get into stuck all that, please guys don't forget down below, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe as well. Every single subscriber, every single share, every single comment is muchly appreciated, and we appreciate you guys so much. The support since we started the new channel, has been monumental, and we love that. Thank you so much. But do all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe, tell your granny, tell your uncle, support Celtic, show it to your Doug, you know, your Doug's a wee Tim, be sure to show them as well. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, guys. Okay. But yeah, so first up, we'll talk about the Sporting Lisbon versus Celtic game last night, which Celtic won 2-0. I thought it was a pretty damn good result, you know, against a good level of opposition, considering the game we played last were against the lesser team in Portugal. And I didn't watch it, but from what I could gather, I was speaking to my dad. He says Celtic were not impressive at all, went a goal up, drew level, went 2-1 up, we then go 2-2, and then we then concede at the death to lose the game, which, doesn't make for, great watching, and it's uninspiring for a pre-season friendly to be losing to a level of opposition kind of like that. I know they're a Premier League team in Portugal, but a Sporting Lisbon they are not. So speaking of which, I'll get back to the topic at hand. I thought last night the game, we played very, very well. I think what impressed me throughout the whole match was the level of pressing we were doing. We didn't give Sporting Lisbon an inch, to breathe. We were on top of them the entire match, and it was very impressive to me to see a kind of newer, I think, style under Rodgers. I think, fingers crossed that this is something new that he's going to be implementing, because that horseshoe passing through the back and side to side and that was doing my absolute boxing the last couple of seasons. As we know, I was never a fan of it, but from what I've seen last night, if this is the route we're going to go down, I am quite enthused by that. Um, you know, we got a good run out for the players. A lot of the first teamers played a good chunk of the game, 60, 65, 70 minutes. And even when the youth team came on the second half, I thought they actually performed pretty not bad as well. And, this, I don't think go understated. I know that it's not, Sporting Lisbon's top players were playing, the likes of Gyökeres and that weren't even involved. But Sporting Lisbon's B team, 9 times out of 10, would beat Celtic. Let's be brutally honest. Sporting Lisbon's B team would more than likely beat Celtic 9 times out of 10. And I think the performance we put in, and I think a lot of the players that played, really impressed. And I think it's a good thing to see. It gives me a hell of a lot more confidence for the season coming ahead than what the result earlier on in the week did, to say the least. So players that stood out to me throughout the game where Dane Murray, Benjamin Nygren, Hatate, Johnny Kenny, and Kasper Schmeichel. Players that did not stand out, did not do well, was one Adamida, and we'll go on to that in a wee while. But I'll talk about the positives first. I thought Dane Murray coming in, who hasn't had a lot of first team experience, mostly with the B team, I thought he looked incredibly comfortable in that match against Sporting Lisbon. The passing he was doing from out the back is some of the best I've seen our centre backs do in a long time. A hell of a lot better than Liam Scales, and a whole hell of a lot better than Austin Trusty. And maybe even, dare I say it, Carter Vickers, you know? He just looked very, unfazed by the fact that we're playing a team of the quality of Sporting Lisbon. He wasn't afraid to make a daring pass, which, by the way, he did come off. Very rarely, I don't even know if any times I've seen him give the ball away. For a young centre-back to come in and do that, that's really impressed me. And if he continues that form going forward, I would be more than happy to see him get a lot more first-team football in the upcoming season. I felt he, made a really, really good account of himself. Rio Hatate controlled the game the entire time. I thought he looked excellent. Some of his passes didn't come off, but you can expect that from Hatate with some of the audacious passing he does try to do. They're not always going to come off, but when he does do it, it's silky, it's slick football. Do you know what I mean? It's beautiful to watch, and he obviously scores the penalty as well. He gets very lucky when Celtic get that penalty to put it away, because it kind of, like, the keeper saves it, but it's kind of bumbles under his hands and bounces off his back into the back of the net. But I mean, he still scored it, So I thought he had a very good account of himself. Johnny Kenny, when he came on, I thought put in a decent shift. He won us the penalty, and he got an assist for Luke McCowan's goal in the second half. He done more in the first 5 minutes than Adamida did in that entire first 45 for me. And I may have been too harsh on Johnny Kenny before. I think he's been about Celtic quality. He's not obviously starting striker material for Celtic, but I am willing going into next season, depending on what the striker situation looks like, to give him, a chance, because I do think there is something there. This is the boy that scored against Chelsea against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge when he was on loan at Shamrock Rovers. He's got European football experience. He's got, first team football experience down in the League of Ireland, and he was very impressive down there. So, I do think we need to look and be patient and see what he's got to offer, and not jump the gun on him as quick, because when he has came on recently, and also there was a game against Aberdeen just before the Scottish Cup when we beat them 4-5 he impressed me there as well. So there's been a good couple of performances put in by Johnny Kenny, and he, stands out to me as someone who also I think deserves a bit of extra first team game time in the coming season. To a limited degree, I'm not saying start against Rangers at Ibrox or anything like that, nothing crazy, but what I am saying is I think there's a player in there potentially, and I do think that we can maybe get the best out of him next season if we give him extra time, extra minutes, to prove that. Kasper Schmeichel kind of looks back to his best. His distribution is so good. It's so good as a goalie, like 10 times the level what Joe Hart had. When players are pressing him and he has the ball at his feet and he doesn't have a lot of options, he still manages to pick out, a player, a great pass. Or even if he does shell it, he's not shelling out the park, he's shelling up towards our players to try and win a knock on or something like that. And the saves he pulled off last night, some of them might have been relatively simple saves, but he still looks, pretty damn spry for a man of his vintage. That's that's all I'll say on that. But I'm happy with Kasper Schmeichel. The player who I do want to talk about a little bit more, pardon me, who really impressed me was Benjamin Nygren. Fuck me, he looks a player. He looks a player and a half, and I know it's scraping bargain basement, not paying a big fee for him and stuff like that. But this guy looks like a gem. He covered every blade of grass on that pitch last night. He was everywhere. Some of the passes he was doing, some of the flicks, the vision that he has, some of his balls in the box from set pieces and that were absolutely excellent. And what I seen last night is that I think Brendan Rodgers is utilising him to kind of hunt down and press players in the middle of the park, and that is allowing guys like Callum McGregor and Atai to have more time in the ball and find more space, because that is a tactic that has been used to good effect from our rivals and other teams in the league and in Champions League and stuff like that. As you shut down Callum McGregor, the midfield kind of just stops, doesn't work, as well. But with a guy like Negrin, who looks like he is a hound dog in the middle of the pitch, sniffing out danger, pressing players, winning possession back, closing down players to open up those spaces, pockets of space for Atati and McGregor, allowing them to roam forward and get balls forward. That looks like a tactic to me, which could bear some serious fruit for us, if that's if we're going to go forward. But yeah, he really, really did impress me, last night. So I think so far, so good for him. I think we're maybe on to a winner with him. We'll see how he performs in the next couple of games. Newcastle on Saturday, then we go to Como, and then obviously the season starts. A player who did not, he didn't do himself any favours last night, was Adamida. He missed two absolute sitters, and I'm starting to think he's maybe run his race at Celtic. There is just something, I don't know what it is, if it's a lack of hunger, it's because he got his move, so he doesn't need to try and impress anymore, because he knows he's here, he knows he's getting his wages no matter what. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, what about him, what he seems just so low on confidence. His ability looks to have plummeted, massively. And look, this wasn't like asking him to score like from 20 yards outside the box, or to chip a ball over a charging goalkeeper coming towards him. They were tappings. They were in the middle of the box. That's his bread and butter, is this poacher that we were all led to believe is what he was. And I don't know what's happening with him. I really don't know what's happening with him. I do think the time is maybe, you know, the time in the hourglass is running out for Adam Meada's career at Celtic, for me. Um, that may sound harsh, but it's just my opinion. What he's given me is nowhere near enough for a starting striker at Celtic. Yeah, he's getting in the positions, but when you're in the position as a striker, you need to score the fucking goals. That's your job. Your job isn't to just be in that position. The job is to score the goals. That is his main job, and he's not doing it. And he's not doing it for me. And I don't think we can go into next season with Adam Ida as our starting striker at Celtic, because that would spell disaster for me. Some people are convinced that he's going to have an absolute topper next season. He's going to score about 30 goals. I don't know where they're getting that from. I know he scored over 20 goals last season, fair enough, or about 20 goals last season. So, Odsonne Edouard scored over 20 goals in his last season at Celtic, and he was hounded out the door by a lot of Celtic fans, not by me. I still love him, and if the chance is there to take him, I'd take him back in a bloody heartbeat. But, it's not good enough for me. When Kyogo left, he was the man to try and make that position his own. Take the reins, cement that position as his own. And he didn't do it. We were putting Dyson Maida in that position, and he was still scoring for fun. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with him, to be totally honest. I don't know if they want to loan him out or keep him as backup or whatever. But then we're bringing in Yamada. We've got Callum Osmond. We're maybe looking at another striker as well, potentially. So I don't know. I don't know what is on the cards for Adam Ida in his Celtic career going forward, unfortunately. But I guess we'll just have to see. But yeah, moving on from that, I think we need to get to the meat and potatoes of this discussion, and that is the lack of expenditure by the Celtic board. And it's something we all know is happening. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody is It's criticising it. There are board apologists out there, right? Normally every season you get them pre-season, whatever. They're hiding in the woodwork now. Because even they can't stand to back up the board for the kind of dismal transfer window we're having right now. And that's what it is. Like, it is not impressive at all. It is, it's worse than last season's, obviously. It is even way worse right now than Brendan Rodgers' first season, which you got 9 players in, which would never even, did anything in the Celtic shirt. Guys like Palma, Yang, Tilio, Odin Home. This is looking worse to me right now because, we've only got 5 players in. Teams around the country are making signing after signing. Our rivals have made about 8 signings. Granted, I don't know how good they look. I'm not really interested in that. I just see them, making a lot of signings. They probably won't be very good. Let's be honest, their track record of signings is not the best, but at least they're doing the business. Their fans are demanding business. They're doing business. We're demanding business. What do we get? Fucking new merch drop. Oh, you want a player in? How about a pair of Adidas Sambas that you're never going to fucking wear? Here's £100 for them, please, Celtic fans. Oh, here's a new Celtic plush teddy that's, in the shape of a clover. Here's Celtic Labubus. That'll be the fucking next thing they're going to start punting in the club shop. Wee green elf goblin fucking looking things that people will hang on their bags and that going to the Celtic games. And people will buy them. People will buy them like hotcakes because that's what we like as a support. We're too damn loyal and we always want to support the club and purchase the goods and put money back in the club. We're scraping the bargain basement whilst people in a cost of living crisis, and I say this year on year out, living in a cost of living crisis, people are forking out money they can't afford on new Celtic tops, Celtic collections, training gear. We'll put out a fucking baseball jersey for God's sake, and people will buy that. Hawaiian tops you wear on your holiday. The greed just doesn't stop with Celtic. It just doesn't stop. The greed encompassing Celtic is an all-consuming vortex, which just sucks the joy and the love in my club out of me year upon year, because it's just not what we want. We want good players coming in. We want players to be in the door at a decent pace, not dragging out to the arse end of the window, not constantly, just saying, we're looking, we're maybe here, we're maybe no, for that. Here's, you want 10 million? Here's a £3 million bid. The low balling, I just don't, I don't get it. I don't understand the logic that the guys on the board have. Here's the thing. Every single transfer rumour I've seen for Celtic over the past week, right? They've all got the same kind of lingo, same kind of language going on about them. Celtic are monitoring the situation. What the fuck does that mean? Monitoring. He's a player you want. You've seen him play. You've scouted him. You know this is the price that they're asking for. Why not just try and put a bid in? Why? What? They're just. We're a club that just. But we've got the board, the football board equivalent of a bunch of fucking peeping toms. They just sit there, wanking away, and taking no action. It's shambolic. It is absolutely terrible. What they're doing, the lack of movement, the lack of money being spent. We made over £100 million last year. We've got another £40 million on the table if we qualify for the Champions League, which, judging by the lack of transfers, the lack of action, we might not qualify for. We might not qualify for the Champions League this season. That is a very possible reality that we're going to live in the next couple of months. Would you be happy with that? Board apologists out there, would you still back the board if they give us bargain basement trash and players that have never fucking kicked a ball professionally for only about a year? And we don't qualify for the Champions League and we're stuck in Europa League? Could you defend that? I couldn't. I don't defend it now. I don't even defend the possibility of it. because it's a very likely possibility that it happens. We had the best striker we've ever had in decades, last couple of decades. Sold him last January, right? We've not replaced him in 7 months. A player of his similar quality, a player to take the striking position, make it seriously, get us back to, scoring so many goals from that position. We put fucking Daisen Maeda there, who's a winger. I know he was a striker in Japan, plays striker for Japan, and actually, whatever. At Celtic, he's a fucking winger, right? That's his position. We took a player out of position, put him there, because Adam Ida couldn't kick his own fucking arse. Did we sign another striker? No. Did we go and get Matthias Kvarskarten, who we're apparently monitoring, even though I don't even know if there's much in that? No, he went to Norwich because they knew a secret clause in his contract and only paid about £6 million for him. Sorry, Celtic fans, fuck you. No. Do you want Callum Osman from a Fulham B team to come in? Did you know striker for Celtic, who's never had first team experience for Fulham in the Premier League? Because you're getting him. Do you want Yamada from Japan, from the Japanese league, who's only costing £1.5 million? Don't get me wrong, could be a very good player, but the optics don't look good. They don't look good. Honestly, every time I do one of these shows, man, I gets my blood up. I do take a chill pill and I actually smoke a joint or something, like fucking hell. But yeah, I am not trying to pin the entire blame on this on one man, but Peter Lawwell is a man whose presence haunts the club, and the stink that he is producing is seeping into the very fabric of Celtic as a football club, and it's going to be fucking impossible to get it out eventually. But Michael Nicholson was, the chief executive, for all that. Peter Lawwell was the puppet master. You got Michael Nicholson dancing to his tune on the strings. That's all it is. Non-executive chairman. It's a lot of shite. It's a lot of shite. He's still there. He's still pulling the strings. Dermot will not get his fucking wallet out. It's a shambles. It's an absolute shambles. Brendan Rodgers is clearly on his way. End of the season, he's done. No, he's not signing another contract. I can guarantee you that. Put your money on it. Don't do that. That's irresponsible. But put your fake, hypothetical monopoly money on it. The money that the Celtic use for transfer. Put that money on it. Money they don't spend. The lack of expenditure and the lack of developing the squad, the lack of transfers, this is only going to fast track his departure. Every time he comes out, talk about any signing, besides Nygren, like Yamada spoke about yesterday, saying he's a club signing. Not a Brendan Rodgers signing, a club signing. Same thing with Inamura. Now, granted, Inamura's came in, he's looked not bad. Fair dues. Clearly, he's not it. He had 9 of them, they weren't even his players, come in his first season back. He got some money, spent him last season, fair dues, Arne Engels, Adam Ida, whatever. Nicholas Kuhn came in. But it's too little. It's too little. It's too late. Brendan Rodgers is off. He's off ski. Bye Brendan. If he, if he, no one can call him a rat or call him anything if he does decide to go at the end of the season. He said he'd stay for 3 years. He'll have kept his word, And if he wins the league, this coming season, a double, maybe a treble, whatever, does okay in Europe, he can walk off it in the sun, proud of his accomplishments. But do not forget who has forced him at the club. The board. Same thing first time around. Didn't he fork out the money for John McGinn? Didn't he pay for this player? Didn't he get this player in? Brendan went like, fuck that, I'm away to Leicester. He said it himself. That was one of the main reasons he left. you know, it's Celtic is it's like history repeating itself over again, the perpetual cycle. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting things to change. And that is what the Celtic board do, because they're fucking insane. They think that they can just, release kit after kit and merch after merch, and we'll buy it and not spend the fucking money, not spend the millions they've got in the bank to try and improve the squad, try and make us a force in Europe, try and win us, a treble, which we haven't in the last couple of years, because that was all, all they wanted was trebles. Can't even do that now the last couple of seasons. And they expect us to just sit and swallow up like good little boys. Well, I'm sorry. No, I'm not having it. I am not having it. You shouldn't either. Everyone watching this right now, you should be disgusted at the Celtic board. There should be posters and stickers and the similar images put on the Twitter polls and posts with the cross through Peter Lawwell's head. Same with Michael Nicholson, same with Dermot Desmond. That should be happening again. We need to stand up as a support and tell them this is not good enough. Will you squeeze every penny out of us and you put fuck all back in? Shouldn't stand for it anymore. But hey, that's just my opinion, If you've got a different opinion, let me know down in the comments, DM me, do whatever. If you want to have a discussion, a wee debate, I'm game for it, But I'm going to end on this. This thing that I'm probably going to end on, right? If we do not get good signings in, sharpish, I'm talking the next 2-3 weeks, I don't think we'll win anything next season. I think it's going to be a very long season. I don't think it's going to go down to the wire like what happened, 2 seasons ago. I think we won't win fuck all. And I'm being honest. But on that cheery note, guys, that's the show. I do hope you've enjoyed. Just a wee short one, but I do hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget, guys, down below, like, share, comment, share again, like, subscribe. Any and all love is appreciated. Any and all support is so appreciated by you guys. Love you all. But I'll probably be on sometime next week and probably do another TIC Talking episode with one of the contributors, and we've got their thoughts, their opinions on this, what's going on. Maybe talk about, maybe the game against Newcastle, stuff like that, maybe how we're doing in Como, if that's kicked off by then. But anyway, guys, that's from me. Have a good one, guys. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Hail, hail, and fuck the board. Oh, I'm still recording. Whoops. This is all new to me. I'm very bad at it. I'm trying to play the actual right.